Welcome back, netizens. Today we will dissect what went wrong with Disney's Snow White remake, from backstage drama to fumbled media appearances. This remake seems to have been cursed from the start. Once upon a time, Disney set out to remake Snow White, but instead of happily ever after, the project became a lightning rod for internet drama. Rachel found herself at the center of a modern fairy tale backlash, with her interviews and social media posts fueling heated debates. In this satirical saga, we'll explore Zegler's controversial quotes and the fan reactions. Disney announced in 2021 that Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, would play Snow White. The casting instantly drew fire online. #NotMySnowWhite trended among those who felt Disney strayed from tradition. Conservative pundit Ben Shapiro ranted in disbelief. Just like Halle Bailey's Ariel, Zegler faced racist backlash. The discourse had all the subtlety of a poison apple. Despite the hate, Zegler stayed positive. In July 2023, as vitriol flared, she tweeted a graceful plea. She thanked fans but begged not to be tagged. "I really do not want to see it." Zegler posted childhood photos dressed as Disney princesses, even as Snow White. She wrote, "I hope every child knows they can be a princess." It was a classy rise above moment, subtly reminding everyone that little Rachel once adored Snow White too. The real fireworks began when Zegler discussed updating Snow White's story. She didn't exactly kiss the classic film's ring. In fact, she roasted some of its dated tropes. Zegler bluntly pointed out the original's old-fashioned romance. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. She said it with a laugh, but many Disney diehards were not amused by her calling the 1937 Prince Charming essentially a creeper. Zegler explained that 2025's Snow White is a very different character. "It's no longer 1937, she said. "We wrote a Snow White that's not going to be saved by the prince or dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be." Rachel Zegler argued Snow White needed a feminist update. The original film was dated in its portrayal of women in power. Critics joked Disney was making a PC Snow White. Zegler agreed, saying it was necessary. She quipped that Andrew Burnap's prince was so irrelevant his scenes could be cut. "Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby," she said. That tongue-in-cheek remark was likely meant to be humorous, but it poured gasoline on the fire for fans. Zegler admitted she wasn't a big Snow White fangirl. The 1937 film scared her as a child. She only re-watched it after being cast. "I think I watched it once and never picked it up again," she said during an interview. "I'm being so serious," she added. Between calling the prince a stalker and confessing she hadn't liked the original, Zegler's interviews painted her as a Snow White skeptic. To some Disney traditionalists, this felt like blasphemy. Zegler's comments lit up the press like a magic mirror alarm. Entertainment media had a field day, stripping away her nuance. Variety said Zegler trashed the original Snow White. The Daily Mail called it a woke tirade. Many felt Zegler rebuked Disney's fairy tale magic. Disney marketed childhood nostalgia, while its new Snow White criticized the 1937 film, leaving fans confused. Even the director's son weighed in. David Hand Jr. said his dad and Walt Disney would be turning in their graves. When your project offends the ghosts of Walt Disney, you know the PR team is in trouble. Disney executives reportedly started sweating over the negative press. Insiders suggested this bad buzz hurt the film's box office. Disney was so wary of the press by premiere time that it severely limited media access, allowing only photographers and in-house crew to attend. The studio feared any question might produce another memeable soundbite. Culture war commentators pounced. Right-wing influencers lumped Zegler's Snow White into woke Hollywood outrages. The film faced criticism for political correctness, including a Latina Snow White, and the portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs. Actor Peter Dinklage criticized the idea of remaking Snow White as a backward story about 7 dwarfs. Disney announced a new approach with dwarf characters, creating CGI creatures to avoid stereotypes upsetting dwarf actors who felt robbed of roles. The remake strayed far from the source material. By late 2023, it was labeled too woke and disrespectful. Zegler became the face of these controversies. Zegler's quotes spread like wildfire and social media exploded. Her interviews went viral on TikTok, often with spicy commentary. One creator called Zegler's feminist angle pseudo-feminism. The creator, Oshika Lord's video garnered nearly 3 million likes, complaining not every princess needs to be a girl boss, or movies will become boring. Not everyone supported Snow White's leadership journey. Some felt Zegler was fixing a non-existent problem, insulting women who choose love and traditional roles. Criticizing Disney princesses isn't feminist, declared at Cozy with Angie. Choosing love, marriage, or staying home isn't anti-feminist. These TikToks struck a chord, racking up views and comments as fans debated Snow White's true empowerment. On Twitter, X, people quickly mocked and memed the situation. A viral tweet joked, "I thought Rachel Zegler ran over somebody's grandma or summon. Imagine my surprise." That tweet captured the sentiment that Zegler was an ungrateful interloper in the Disney princess legacy, a sentiment that would resurface later. Public figures and commentators jumped into the fray. Sean Ono Lennon, son of John Lennon, slammed Zegler on X. He called her a spoiled, ungrateful brat. No surprise the movie faced criticism. The discourse had gone surreal. Even insider voices turned on Zegler. Jonah Platt, son of producer Mark Platt, blamed her for the film's woes. He griped that Zegler dragged her politics into the movie's promotion and hurt the film's box office. By the time the film opened, Snow White discourse had devolved into a blame game, with Zegler cast as the villain. The film's poor opening of $43 million domestic only poured fuel on the fire. Many believe Disney's marketing missteps and Zegler's promotional comments set the stage for this debacle. The Hollywood Reporter bluntly asked if PR missteps turned marketing the film into a poisoned apple. Many live-action remakes tweak outdated aspects, but here it came off as the young starlet dissing a beloved classic. More media training, or a tighter leash, might have prevented viral soundbites. Stein felt the pile-on went too far, distinguishing fair critique from bullying. But the narrative of ungrateful actress ran wild. Zegler's social media presence gave critics more ammunition. She was vocally political online, unusual for a Disney princess. For instance, she tweeted "Free Palestine" and thanked fans in the same thread, which reportedly alarmed Disney higher-ups. October 2023, amid the Israel-Hamas war, a highly charged topic. Producer Mark Platt flew to New York to urge her to take the tweet down. She once posted that she hoped Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace, later apologizing for that remark. To her detractors, Zegler was a woke prima donna. She wasn't just rewriting Snow White, she was insulting half the audience. Right-wing commentators called for boycotts, claiming Zegler pushed an agenda. Indeed, some Snow White IMDb reviews were bombarded with anger at Zegler, even before anyone saw the film. As the controversy raged, Disney and Zegler attempted damage control. Zegler went quiet during the late 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. By early 2024, fans noticed a shift in her tone. Gone were any snarky comments. Zegler emphasized how grateful and honored she was to be Snow White, almost as if reading from a Disney-approved script. Rachel Zegler called Snow White a dream come true. a far cry from calling the cartoon weird. Headlines noted her praising the project after backlash. She previously called the 1937 film extremely dated. Disney realized the marketing had gone off the rails. In one interview, she gushed that being part of Snow White was a dream come true, far from calling it weird. Headlines popped up. Rachel Zegler walks back Snow White comments. After major backlash, she praised the project effusively after calling the 1937 film extremely dated. By the world premiere in March 2025, the narrative refocused on positivity. Ziegler smiled on the red carpet and spoke of Snow White's legacy. But the internet never forgets. Skeptics called it a U-turn. YouTubers compiled her old quotes versus new quotes, accusing her of being fake or liking Snow White when convenient. Geeks plus gamers had their sarcastic videos ready. In a post-release post-mortem, more voices defended Zegler or contextualized the fiasco. Halle Bailey supported Zegler, having faced a similar storm with The Little Mermaid, saying, "We've got your back." People didn't want a lecture on how outdated their childhood favorite was. They wanted to feel like they did when they saw the original. Snow White's happily ever after is sacred ground, and treading on it invited fury. Disney's tone-deaf marketing focused on what the new film isn't. No prince, no romance, instead of what it is, alienating the core audience who loved the original's charm. It's a cautionary tale for Hollywood. If you're remaking a classic, don't call the old version weird and dated. And finally, the culture shift and online vitriol. This controversy sat at the intersection of fandom and culture wars. A Latino Snow White, a feminist Snow White, an actress with outspoken views, it all became a proxy battle in the larger discourse of representation and wokeness. Zegler became a flashpoint for those debates. The fan backlash was exacerbated by political rhetoric. Trump supporters and culture war YouTubers jumped in, turning a movie promo cycle into a toxic stew. Rachel Zegler's Snow White journey might not have a tidy happily ever after, but it's certainly one for the storybooks. A cautionary tale about fame, fandom, and the perils of reinventing a classic. Mirror, mirror on the wall, what's the craziest discourse of them all? This one might just take the